Welcome to the Stacy A. Cross Show. I am Stacy A. Cross. There's no E in my name. Every Friday at 8 a.m., I'll be coming through. We're talking health, we're talking wealth, and we're talking happiness. I'm a believer of freedom, personal growth, and your journey to success. So go ahead and share, subscribe, listen to this show because it's going to be an amazing one. As always, you can find me at www.thecomfortkillers.com. Thank you so much for being here. Let's go. Ladies and gentlemen, Comfort Killers worldwide, I am, as I mentioned, Stacy A. Cross. There's no E in my name. Welcome to the Stacy A. Cross Show here, June 22nd, a beautiful day, live from Philadelphia. Every Friday at 8 a.m., I come through with another show here, Health, Wealth, and Happiness. Today is going to be no different. We're going to have an awesome show here lined up with me. I have my friend, an entrepreneur, and man, just an all-around dope dude doing great things in business and life. And he's hailing all the way from Vancouver, Canada. You know, I got my Canadian friends across the border, man. And, you know, they come through to crush it. His name is Rubix, LucasRubix.com, and he is the coach's coach. Got a podcast, The Coach's Corner. Man, just check out his website. He's helping coaches, no matter if you're a mindset coach, a financial coach, money coach, health coach, fitness coach, whatever coach you are, your niche down, he teaches you the basics, how to get more people through that pipeline, right? How to get those leads through that pipeline, how to cultivate them, selling, building up systems for your sales process, marketing, and getting your business to really grow. He said this quote, and we talk about it in our interview, and I really like this quote. He says, you can't build a business just on love, right? You love this thing. Oh, I'm in it for the love. Can't take love to the grocery store and pay with love. Even though it's a beautiful thing, we would all agree that love is a beautiful thing, but at some point you have to, and I'm telling you, you must create systems in your business in order to achieve that value for value based business that everyone is achieving. I'm telling you, do not be confused by, oh my God, I'm so passionate about this thing. Oh my God, I love this thing. Yes, love what you do, but make sure that you're making sure that you're making money in your business. Because if you want to expand, if you want to do more, if you want to help more people, how the hell can you do that when you just have this hobby and calling it a business? You're going around the wrong way. So we talk about a lot of things, and it's a very long episode or long interview. Usually my interviews are 30 minutes. This one, we went overboard. Why? Because I believe in what he's saying. I believe it was a great interview. You're going to get so much gold knowledge from it, and we need to get started. So, you know, let me tell you a little bit about Lucas before we get in, because I pressed record like a little late. You know, I already did like, hey, you know, welcome. And then, you know, all of a sudden I'm like, oh, snap, I didn't press record. You know, so he's an expert into making other people highly successful. And I think that, you know, his brand and his business really goes hand in hand with that one-on-one. And I know, as he says, it's hard to scale like this one-on-one, a small group coaching or getting these businesses up or consulting. It's really hard to scale. You got to get people in there to kind of clone you in order to do what you do best. But also the marketing. Listen to what he talks when he talks about the marketing. Listen to what he talks when he talks about you can't make money just by doing what you love. Listen what he talks about when he talks about he gets you more clients so you can make more money and get booked solid. But when he takes it and he says, listen, we got to start focusing on high ticket sales, that's a whole different ball game. So I want you to pay attention to that and ensure that you're all in. If you have a business, or if you are a coach, or if you want to be a coach, or if you want to just start a business, this is going to be an awesome episode for you. So stick around, and we're going to get right back with Lucas from LucasRubix.com, the coach's coach, and his podcast, The Coach's Corner. You got to check that out. Also on his website. One other thing I want to say is leave me on all my socials, Stacy A. Cross on everything. I had a rant on Snapchat. I'm going to use Snapchat for my rants now. Snapchat's going to get the rants. I'm on Instagram. I pop a few videos in there. I know IGTV just came out. I tried going on IGTV and bang, bang. They said, nah, you can't post a video over a minute. Stace, go sit down. And I was like, damn. But, we're going to get through. We're going to pierce that. I'm on all the socials at Stacy A Cross. So go ahead and find me there, locate me, and then lead me on all those socials. All right. So enough of this. Let's get into the podcast for today. Let's get into the show for today. And let's go crack some damn bones. All right, Lucas, you ready? Let's go.
And since then, it's just been like a crazy journey of really diving into marketing and helping actual business owners. Like, there's so many passionate business owners out there, because I know I used to be one, but I was broke all the time. And then when I got my head wrapped around 80% marketing, I call it like the 80% rule. So 80% of your time should be spent marketing, especially at first. Everything kind of started changing. So I just got obsessed with that. And it's just like, it breaks my heart when I know someone's good at what they do, but they ain't making no money. And it has to go hand in hand. Are you going to be, you just can't give your whole self when you're not making money and not enjoying your life. So
yeah, when it's not being reciprocated, because value for value is really the business in the game of life, right? You give me value, I give you back value. That is like the best thing. So when I hear people are like, well, I don't care. And I asked this in my group, and I'm loving that we're going to talk about this today, and it's going to help a lot of people out, unravel the myth. I asked this question in my group, do you follow passion or do you follow the money? And a lot of people, automatically are conditioned to say, well, I really want to help people. How are you going to help people out when you can't even get the juice to get up out of bed because your bills are not paid, and you can't bring that high five and that like to the bank and say, hey, I want to exchange this for dollars. But yeah, you started out in the fitness field, and you decided to learn a skill. And I think that's the most important thing. Learn that skill. So now you're the coach's coach, and you're helping other coaches do three things. You get more client, make more money, and get booked solid. That's your three promises that you have for your business right now. How was the transition first into that passion to, hey, I got to build a business? How's that transition?
Yeah, I think my first career, what I first started with was just like a professional loser. Like I said, I do a lot. Like for 26 years, I didn't really do anything. And I was broke, unhappy, depressed. And I think fitness was the first thing that actually kind of I started moving my body, and I started actually gaining confidence and gaining sort of at first it was vanity. I fell in with my body. I felt good about myself. Then I started getting energy, and then I realized I could empower others. So I started the whole fitness, and I built it pretty quickly because I think I'm quite enthusiastic, and I didn't know it at the time, but I think I was kind of a natural born salesperson, as in I loved what I did and I could easily infect people with it. I think the enthusiasm and energy for it. So that built pretty quickly. And then I realized I stopped working out. I lost my love for fitness because I was so busy doing it and helping others, that I realized that this is not going to be a lifetime thing. So I started searching for, what do I want to do next? And at the time I had a lot of coaches, fitness coaches locally, coming up to me, just asking me how I built it so quick and how I built the social media so quickly. I think it took a year and a half, and I'd be walking along the city here. And Vancouver's a pretty big city, but I'd be walking around and people would be stopping me like, hey, you're the fitness guy. And so I got, I'm not going to say well known, but I made a bit of an impact in the city. And then I started teaching other coaches. I think I helped about 5 or 6 of them for free to see if I got the skills, and they all seen great results. One of my first clients that I ever started helping is at 10K a month or so, and that took them about 6-7 months. So they were seeing good results, and I realized, hey, I'm good at this. I like doing this, and I kind of shut down the fitness business, pretty much 75% of it overnight, just enough revenue to keep my basic bills paid. Took it easy for about 6 months and just built up the Coach's Corner, and now that's pretty much all I do. Yeah.
You know what? It's very hard for someone to, have that first passion, that first love, and then actually make that logical decision, or the best decision that moves them to the next success of their life. A lot of people stay in that field like, how can I make this passion work? And it's such a shame, because it really is a logical pros, cons, the numbers game kind of decision one should make, but their heart is wrapped into it. What would you know
what though? It's so terrifying. I was heartbroken I probably spent 2 months just sick to my stomach. I am giving up. At the time, I think I went from nothing. I was paying $400 a month rent in some really shitty little place And in this very short period of time, it was like $18,000 months. I incorporated and I was like, I'm on top of the world. I'm loving it. Bought a BMW thinking like, this is it. And then I realized how unhappy and how burnt out I was. And so to give all that up all of a sudden, like I think I hit $18,000 months, and 6 months later, I was back down to, basically I just shut it all down and I restarted something new. And I was sick to my stomach thinking like, am I ever gonna make that back up? But I think when you follow your natural interests, I was waking up in the morning and I just wasn't showing up. And I didn't like it anymore. And, to make the shift, I think when you're waking up and you're excited about what you do, whether the money's there or not, because it will come. You have to structure the business so you know what's going to come. But at the same time, I think now that I've done it once, if I ever have to do it again, it would be a no-brainer. It'd be a no-brainer.
Yeah, that happened to me, Lucas. I mean, shutting down my clothing brand business that I was in it for 5 years deep, and I'm looking at, the numbers. I'm looking at the time invested, and I just had that gut instinctual feeling that self-improvement is it, and writing books and helping people and really like developing the success through it. And it hurt my heart, and it hurt other people worse than it hurt me, because they looked at me like, come on, I knew this was going to happen. But you got to be honest. And I think that's the number one thing, where you're assessing and you're evaluating and you're honest with where you're going to go. You're not quitting, you're pivoting. So what was, go ahead.
I picked up the 4-hour work week because people have been telling me to read it for about 5 years, and I didn't like it. I didn't like the title, but I finally picked it up and I got it about page 60, and I said, this book sucks. But in my opinion, there's one part of it that talks about, and maybe I should give another chance, but talks about fear. And he's got this equation for, I think it's page 40 or 50, because I screenshot it and I sent it to people, especially when I have people or I'm coaching people and they're like in a fear-based sort of mentality and they're afraid of the future. I send them this one little chapter, 3-4 pages. Tim Ferriss has it on his blog. Maybe I can find the link for you and you can share it with your people. But it talks about, I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it talks about basically writing the equation down for what could happen in, like, I'm gonna probably butcher this, but the positive and the negative of it. And usually the negative, like the worst case scenario for, quitting a career, trying something else, shifting, is usually pretty small, as in you can usually go back and pick up where you left off. So it's usually not life changing. It usually won't cripple you forever. It usually is pretty small. But then the other side of what if it did work is completely life changing. Like the benefits of trying something new and going after your thing outweighs, even if you got a job where they were talking about a lawyer who's making $300,000 a year or something, or some lawyer or something. And he said, I hate my job. He was at the top of the corporate ladder. He quit. And he said, worst case, in 1 year, I can come back. I'm getting job offers left, right, and center. I can come back, pick up where I left off, and, make it back up. He went down to South America, started some sailing or kayaking company. And now he has a full-time business career down there. And he has lawyers come down saying, I wish I could have a life like you. I got to go back to my corporate job. He's just like, you can't. So I think we just play these mind games on ourselves of what could happen. All this stuff's going to happen. We're going to lose our, we're going to end up on the street. Like, it's not going to happen. Like, it just cannot happen. It won't happen.
Yeah, it won't happen.
You figure it out.
Yeah, I took a big dive. I left the 9 to 5, and I left with just my book bag and a plan to not fail. And it's just like, I go out here every day, and it's like, okay, just stick to the plan, Stacy, and just keep trudging on. And that's what, this whole uncomfortable lifestyle is for me, but I never knew it before. I was so comfortable. I was so, average in thinking that, hey, listen, I don't want to go out there and risk everything. So, now I'm at a point where I know that there's no other option but to succeed. I think when you get to that level, you risk more, because that reward is going to be bountiful and abundant.
Totally. And you're already succeeding. Every single day you're doing something you love. Like, how many people get to do that? I sit out, like my apartment in the office kind of has a window of this highway here, and every single morning is just packed full of traffic. And it just brings me so much gratitude that I'm nothing wrong with it. They may be going, I'm kind of judging the whole, maybe they're going to go do something they love, but most people are sitting there like complaining about the traffic. Like, they just, I don't get it. Like, you're going to die. We're all going to die. We all have to be in the same place.
Yep.
And I am, I'm going to squeeze out as much juice as I can from every single day. Not every single day is perfect. And I do have doubts and I do have horrible days, just like yourself. But I'd rather have horrible days doing something I love than horrible days and getting bitched at by some boss. Yeah.
That's a quote right there. And I'm going to squeeze some juice out of now the business aspect of it, because actually we have a few people in our academy at the comfortkillers.com that aspire to be coaches, and they're working on their expertise. So where do your business, or where do you see, what do you have to have as that framework when you want to be a coach in fitness, in consulting, and whatever it is? If you're helping people, a success coach, a life coach, all these different types of coach, health coaches, where do you see what type of person would be best for that?
Yeah, so usually there's two, I kind of sometimes have three types of people, but there's going to be the coach who's just starting, who doesn't have any coaching experience, who hasn't really put their time in the trenches yet, but is looking at all the Instagrammers and all the other coaches and wants to be a successful coach in a short period of time, wants to launch an online program and have a whole bunch of clients. Those coaches usually, even if we build a sales funnel and send, a few $1,000s of traffic, and even if the marketing is on point, they usually end up failing because they don't get an ROI, because the clients don't stay with them, they don't get the results, and they just kind of are. Anyway, that's the first type of person. The second type of person has a little bit of traction, and they're ready to, they've been coaching for 3-4 years, and now they're ready to okay, I'm ready to actually make some money because I'm not making any. And the third type of person, maybe they're making 5, 10, 15, 20K, and we've had people like that come into the Coaches Academy, and they leave making a lot more because they're able to systemize and whatever. So most people are person A and B. And I always say, don't worry about, a lot of people are doing a lot of social media stuff, which is important. Your brand is important, but I really love direct mail, direct response, get attention and pay for it, and make sure that we're selling. I love high ticket stuff. We're small groups. So you're making sure you get paid in proportion. None of this $200-$300 type stuff, because usually we don't make the money back. I want our margins as big as we can. So if we're selling a $3,000 package, we're able to spend $1,000 just to acquire one client at first. We can really dial in our message, build an audience really quickly, build an email list quickly to 500 or 1,000 people. But you got to make sure the product is there. And so many people don't have their product themselves, their coaching abilities. It's a fine line, because imperfect action and just go out and do it. And that's the way you learn. But you also have to be ethical if you've never, fitness coached or life coached before, and you're 22. And again, this is my opinion here, but if you're 22 and you've never life coached, and you haven't gone through the rungs of getting, not that certification's important, but you haven't dipped your feet in yet, start working with some people for free, start building some testimonials, start crafting your stuff. And then when you're ready, launch a full-out program. But if that answers the question.
No, it does. And because, at any given point, people could recognize, okay, I'm here and I could dive in here and just grow my business exponentially. But you're right about the Instagram. It looks good. These coaches are world travelers. They're eating good. They make it look, the lifestyle of it is just excellent. Where are the trenches? Where are you in your trenches, though? Where's the actual work and the business side of it? And that's what I want to focus on a little bit, because this not goes with the coaching. It goes with really anyone that's starting this online. Oh, all I got to do is pop up YouTube up. All I got to do is go on Instagram. That's a myth. Tell us about the myth that you broke personally for yourself through marketing and understanding that direct response is probably needed in your business. Not probably, but required. Tell us about that myth, how you broke through it, and what others need to do to really get that business mindset and focus versus just this online media attention.
I think when I understood the basic concept of marketing and stopped taking things personally, as in you may have an amazing product. Let's just take, what am I looking at? Let's just take an example of, let's just look at the 4-Hour Work Week, because I'm holding it in front of me, although I don't feel like promoting this book, because honestly, I'm kind of this book is let's promote this 4-Hour Work Week book. And this book could be perfect for someone. But if they're, if they're on holidays or they don't feel like reading, or if something's going on in their lives and it's not the right time, they may see the book come up over and over, a message, right? A very specific message, which Tim Ferriss did very well. So you have a specific message to your audience, a specific problem that you solve that you share with them over and over. And the first time they see it, they're probably not going to take an action on it. The second time they see it, they're probably not going to take an action on it, because you don't know the variables. They may be the perfect person you're targeting, but they may be, I don't know, busy, or, you could have a 15 bottle of water that will heal all your medical issues. But if someone's not thirsty, they're not going to buy it. But if they're thirsty in the Sahara Desert, you could sell that $15 bottle of water for $100 and they're going to buy it. So when I understood that basic concept of like dialing my message, put it in front of the right people and keep putting it in front of them. And when they're ready, don't hope that they're just going to send me a message or call me to work with me. Make sure I have an offer out there, something free. You understand all that. Most people do these days because we see it all the time. It's something that they can, hey, you know what? I'm going to raise my hand. I'm kind of ready. Let me give you some information. Let me become a lead. And they're still not might be ready. So the whole idea of the pipeline and just pushing them through the pipeline and not being pushy and just giving them value and just kind of and automating that whole system. When I understood, I applied it first in my fitness business, and now I apply it that's all I really do in this business. Most of it is automated until the client's ready to have a conversation with me. They're pre-qualified. We get on the phone and we either work together or we don't. If they don't, a lot of these people come back in 2-3 months ready to do some business anyway. So, so the whole idea of the marketing funnel and just understanding that the right message to the right person over and over and over and over with a really good offer that they'd be happy that'll solve some kind of problem. They're going to raise their hand. They're going to come in, you're going to work them through your funnel. That's where content comes in handy and your emails. And that's where your YouTube videos can come in handy because you can send it out to your list. Keep giving value until they're like, you know what? I need this Tim Ferriss book. I'm ready to buy it. And then they buy it.
It's funny. So then you're saying don't talk to everybody.
Don't talk to everybody. I think when you take a stand and when you're just like, you know what, this is what I do and this is what I'm the best at. So many coaches, and this drives me crazy. They are, or even just online, people who are trying to make money online. I just did a podcast about this actually, but they are health coaches, they're money coaches, they're mindset coaches, and they're, success coaches, all in one on their bio. When you go to the website, it's kind of like, it's all over the place. And they're not really dialing in their niche and that one specific person or the one specific problem that they're going to be the best at. And there's this really, really wicked app on Chrome that your audience can use if they want. It's called Turbo Ad Finder. It'll turn your whole feed into ads, which is the opposite of how most people think. But it'll turn your whole Facebook feed into ads. And it'll usually be a competition because they're targeting you. And you can start seeing like what is their positioning and how are they positioning themselves in the market? And how can you do it a little bit differently? Because you can't compete with, if you're copying Tony Robbins and what he does,
yeah, people
are probably going to buy Tony Robbins products. But just getting an idea of like your message and the right person you want to talk to, dialing it in. And I think I just started with fitness coaches locally at first. I was helping a lot of them. And then I said, you know what, I want to kind of expand online because I built an online business. And then I had life coaches and health coaches. And we had like a success or a life coach come through the program as well. And we opened it up a little bit more because I've slowly been opening up to someday in 10 years, I'll probably be able to, help, way more types of people as we expand. But I think at first, help a specific person, totally.
Yeah, so you kind of put your services out there to, get the testimony, build some authority, and, get that credibility up in your niche, in your space. And if you don't know what niche you're going, even just helping someone achieve a specific thing, like you're right, seeing all of that health mindset, you're doing all of these things and it's not specific enough, you lose a lot of people in the process. So I get that 100%. Now, when you said direct response, you're talking about talking to the right person at the right time or over and over until they raise their hand and they say, okay, you know what? I'll give you my email address. I want that attractive lead magnet. And we're talking in specifics of marketing. I want that thing and I'm willing to give you my email address, my phone number, and go from there. How, because you're talking. I love this talk. I love marketing, copywriting, and things like that. What specific skill do you teach your coaches that they will need to kind of monitor and get better at to continue their business? Or do you just say, here's the templates and go about your business? Or do you try to get them to learn a skill?
We get pretty specific. And I guess I'm going to answer that. Yeah, we get pretty specific. So they don't really get a template, but we do work on things. So if someone's just starting, they don't have anything built, we're obviously going to start from the end all the way to the start. A lot of people are looking at a business like an online business. You have your offer. Well, you have your traffic, you have your social media and all your content. You have an offer. Then they get a few emails. Then they get a sales page to either buy a product or book a call. And then they see that, so they build it from that way. And then they get all confused and it doesn't work. But we start from the back end. So we build that sales page first. We build the product. What are we actually selling? And can we really, really dial in exactly what we're selling, get really specific with it? and what's the price point for the offer. I usually get people who are just starting to do a little high ticket because then we have more room to play when it comes to our advertising dollar, or just, I guess if they're not advertising with dollars, of how much content we're creating. But it's just easier to get one person at 1,000 than 10 people at 100.
Yeah.
I've experienced it many times over, especially with coaching, especially, I mean, there was a case study in a handstand coach who did something like $2 million last year, something ridiculous. It's teaching people how to handstand with a high ticket offer. Like it's ridiculous the kind of offers you can build in any niche. You don't have to be in the money making niche to build high end offers. And yeah, so reverse engineer that process. So I work pretty closely hand in hand. All the copy is always kind of sent in. I honestly don't believe people get really hung up on trying to master copy and then master this and that and master Facebook ads. But at the end of the day, if you really know your message and you know how to articulate or communicate that message,
yeah,
you know the benefits and the pain points of your people, if you know the person you're talking to and you're enthusiastic and you love what you do, because I think if you love what you do and you really love your product, you're gonna sling it every day because you know it'll make an impact on someone's life.
Right.
I think when those things line up, even if your copy's not perfect at first, you know, you split test stuff. Once your first landing page for your lead magnet may not be the best, and it's converting at 20%, and then we make some tweaks and now it's converting at 28%. Like, it'll get better. But I think if you understand the fundamentals of it, it's pretty hard to butcher it. And then I see so many landing pages of people who haven't mastered the fundamentals, and it's just like, hey, I have something free for you. You're gonna love it. Download here. Yeah. And it just doesn't entice people to it doesn't get them excited. It doesn't get them, they don't want it bad enough to actually give you any kind of information, right?
Right. You pretty much get your bounce rate up. And it's funny because, you know, the theory of Gary Vaynerchuk is to give, and then you go ahead and ask and cross the finger, and hopefully they'll, you know, bite down on what you're putting out there.
Right.
Is that your theories too, as far as the content is concerned? Give, and then ask how do you kind of lead flow them in with something that's I guess magnetizing?
Yeah. Well, one thing that's working really well right now for me is I have a 6-figure coach academy. So I would happily and morally feel awesome about selling it for $500-$600. I've been giving it away for free. It's a full course. People come in, and literally, I think I ask once a month. I think I send 3 emails. It's a sequence of 3 emails that I send. They're pretty well written. Once a month, I send out, and that is pretty much the only time that I will ask, and then I open up that week for my bookings, and then I get on phone calls with people, and you know, some people end up working with me, some don't, and that's all good. So I pretty much only ask maybe 2 or 3 times. There's different styles. Some people will just fill up their funnel full and then pound out 3 value emails and then just start a sales sequence, and you either want it or you don't.
Yeah.
I don't like that. In my opinion, I'm in this for long term. I had people from my fitness days who were, you know, interested in fitness, or they were looking to get in shape, who have done business with me in this new business because they started businesses and needed some marketing stuff. I'm working with someone from Vancouver Island that I knew a long time ago, and they became clients for the Coach's Corner stuff. So I really like the long-term relationship building, and I'm not worried about if someone signs up to my list and doesn't buy from me in 4 weeks' time. Like I don't even really think about it that way. And even if they unsubscribe because they're cleaning out their subscriptions, they're still in my Facebook group. They're still somewhere on my Instagram. They still communicate. Yeah. And I know without a doubt that if you love what you do, and it just pays in dividends. So I like long-term relationships. And I think if you could become that person who, you know, every time they open up their inbox, there's something amazing for them that actually makes them laugh or makes them smile or gives them value or moves their business forward or moves their health or fitness or life forward, or they're, you know, moves them out of the comfort zone, like what you guys are doing. Yep. And they love it every time. And there's no hidden agenda to what you do. I think when you ask once, I don't really get unsubscribes on my email list. And when I ask, it's very direct, like, hey, hoping you've been enjoying the content. I got something for you. It's going to go away in 3 days. I open it up once a month for a week. You can book a call, and, you know, people don't mind. So.
Awesome. So you have your lead magnet, or that perfect, you know, value giver is the academy that you open up once a week. per month?
The Six Figure Coach Academy is open all the time, so anyone can register for that. But then I ask pretty much once a month if they want to join the high ticket offers, or if they actually want to join some coaching. Because what I learned in this space, especially, is just a standalone program. Most people don't get value from it. I know back in the day, I've spent thousands of dollars on programs for marketing or business building. I didn't really start getting real results when I started working with a real life person who actually looked over my shoulder, led me through it in a small group. I've worked with one-on-one. I've worked with some high-level mastermind stuff. And I think at the end of the day, I want to build the whole coach's corner. There's always a personal aspect of it. So I don't sell any products. There's other people who do that. And you can buy something for $500 or $800 that'll, educate you. I think you can get that out of a $29 book. There's more marketing books and business building books out there that
absolutely
there's no end to it. But I think people really start seeing results when we pretty much have 100% success ratio, because when I sit down with someone, I see it through to the end, unless they end up quitting because of whatever happens. But I think there's just way more value in working with someone. So pretty much that's all we do, is we work either one-on-one or small groups and hand-in-hand type stuff for now anyway.
No, that makes perfect sense. So, and it also ensures that you give them, all of your time and dedication and all your knowledge, and you're with them. And that's how you really could get the high ticket items when you look at it like that. We have this over here. We're not pushing down all these products down your throat. We want to work with you one-on-one within a small group, and, so you could get that value. So I like that aspect of it. And it's really different from what I'm seeing now, or people are, trying to make their business more of that model where it's, you could get in on the front line, but when you really want to work, we're here for you.
Yeah, and I think you can put so many different little products that could help people forward. But my whole idea of scaling is, some people say, well, you can't scale the one-on-one thing, and that's true. But if you had 2 or 3 coaches working with you, and you had I envision this year has been dedicated to trying to figure out how to get 2 or 3 coaches. So a really good mindset coach who's been doing it for a long time to help 80% of his mindset. So they have calls with them. They have calls with the marketer. They have calls with a Facebook ads expert. And then I can sort of shift away. Like, I'll still be involved and I'll still be on coaching calls, but you can scale that way and still be able to provide a lot of value for people, instead of some people are just like, well, I need to scale and I can't scale coaching, so I'm going to create products and sell to the masses. And that's totally fine. But that's just not my idea.
Yep. No, and I like your idea the best. So Lucas, you mentioned you mentioned the one book that you don't want to promote, but you mentioned that a bunch of times. That's funny. But what, we have people here that they're readers, they seek that knowledge, and then they go out and implement. Could you name a one book maybe that will help them out as far as just getting that business acumen down, even if it's online business marketing, anything that will help them get that mindset to start taking their passion and what they love and turning it into something that's more viable?
Yeah, and I'll just give one thing with the 4-hour work week, which you were just like, you don't like the book, but you promoted it. That's exactly what, I'm not a hater of Tim Ferriss, but that's why he takes a stand, and obviously half people will like it, half the people won't. And he gets away. Obviously, he's a brilliant marketer. I love the guy and I love his content. But titling a book the 4-hour work week, and some people will be like, that's stupid, like me. And I promote the book for him, and then some people love it. But because of him taking a stand, there's always going to be people that don't like you. But I think the louder you can be about it and really take a stand, both sides of the party will promote your book. So like you said, you don't like the book, but you mentioned it 4 times. It's because his marketing is brilliant. I'm just looking at all the books. I think one of the, I guess it just depends. There's a technical side of building the business, which, we talked about this a few days ago, the Dan Kennedy stuff, because it's so raw and just fundamental.
Right.
I think if you really want to dive into marketing, that would be a good place to start. The Ultimate Anything of his. And then for the, what I really like, I think you interviewed Evan Carmichael as well, but I had Evan Carmichael on, and his book really, really helped me. The one word, your one word.
Yeah.
Dial in a really clear and concise message, because at the time when I was reading that, this is probably 2 years ago or something, I was kind of trying to dial in my message and try to find my voice, but I was still struggling. And that book really set me clear and helped me with that. So I think I really like that book. That's kind of that's kind of what I got, man. The Dan Kennedy, start there, and I think the rest will come if you're really serious about finding marketing books. Yeah.
No, I agree. Now that you said the Evan Carmichael, I haven't read it yet.
Right.
I definitely have to. You're right. The message piece, once you get that dialed in, I think like the rest is just like melts like butter, you know, because you're always saying that one thing, and that's important. So your message, your market, how you're going to, and your vehicle that takes you there. What do you think about advertising now? A lot has changed. I think within the last year, online marketing, IGTV just announced they're on today.
Yep.
I tried to post something. It's for the influencers. They're like, shut up, Stacy, you're not ready yet. It's like, okay.
All right.
So what do you think about where's this, you know, where do we spend our advertising dollars? How do we?
There's 1,001 ways, because so I'm not, blind enough to say there's no other ways than I do it, but I just love, you need to know your numbers, first of all. Like, business is really a numbers game at the end of the day. You need to know your numbers. So you need to know the lifetime value of your client. You need to know what they're worth, or your customer, if you're selling a product or whatever. You need to know that. And then you need to know how much you're spending per lead. Conversion ads on Facebook, that's pretty much all we run. We'll get leads from a really good campaign we're running right now, $1.30 per lead, and they're pretty quality leads, all the way up to $8. And I'm okay to spend $8 to bring someone into my list or bring someone into my business, because I know most of my clients are worth $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. So I am okay spending, especially because I'm obsessed with growth. I'll spend $2,000 to get to start working with someone. I don't mind.
Yeah.
And as you build, those costs will go down. But if you know your numbers, run traffic through Facebook, and don't just run. It depends what your campaign is, right? This then is a whole topic of actual running profitable Facebook ads. There's really 3 stages of a Facebook ad. If someone really wants to research it, it's all up on YouTube. You can probably find it anywhere. Make sure you're picking your right objectives, the right campaign. And then if you know your message and you know your people, you can easily find that audience. Do some research on audience insights inside Facebook. Build a really good audience that you think will work well. Put a message in front of them. Pick an image that stops a scroller that's kind of native to the platform, so it captures attention. They're going to read that first part of their message. They're going to say, well, that's me. They're going to click on it. They're going to do a conversion on your landing page. Maybe you're converting at 30%. And Facebook will basically tell you spend, $3 per lead. And if you know, once I try to tell people, get 100 leads, get 100 emails, see your open rates, see how things are working, see if people are, you really can't know if it's working or not until you have 100 people, I believe, work through your funnel. And if after 100 people, you've had 5 people book a call and 2 of them ended up working with you, or 1, if you really, really sucked at closing them, let's reverse engineer this math. If you're spending $3, $4 a lead, that's $400 to get your 100 leads. So every phone call, I'm doing this math off the top of my head. If you have 5 phone calls at $400 or $500, I guess, what are you spending? $50 a phone call.
Yeah.
And if you're getting a client that's worth $1,000 and you got 1 or 2 of them, you've made $2,000 off $400 ad spend. At first, the numbers won't be clean like that. But if you just know your numbers and approach it from like, okay, I'm going to take this $500. I'm going to put in my ad spend. I'm going to run it till it runs out. I'm going to see how many conversions I got. And then I'm going to look at every piece of the, I guess you want to call it the funnel, and have a look at what was working really well, what wasn't, and why did I not get a client from it? Or did I get 1 or 2, and how can I make it better?
Nice. That really explains it. I think this one part will be re-listened to by a lot of people, because a lot of, every time it's just, put an Instagram post up, let's put a Facebook ad up, and no one really checks the numbers. No one goes in deep inside the manager and checks the numbers. No, they're overspending if they're just wasting their cash flow, or they're not talking to the right audience. So
totally.
Yeah.
I think just patience with like, I believe I do things a little bit differently than what I was taught, because I have a lot more moving parts of business than just running Facebook ads. So I check Facebook ads once a week. And so I run them. I don't look at them. That being said, I guess I'm not stupid enough to think that, I have a little bit of money to burn these days. Yeah. Back in the day, I guess I used to watch a little closer, because I couldn't afford to be making that many mistakes. But either way, wherever you are, run them for a week at $5 a day even, and just see what's the relevancy score of the audience. Are they interacting with my post? And if they're not, like, don't just dismiss the ad. Have a look at your message and like try to get into the mind of your client avatar or who you're trying to talk to, and just be like, if I was Download that Turbo Ad Finder and just spend an hour going through all the ads that are going to pop up. And you'll see there's a really simple formula to a Facebook ad. They all kind of have like this little rhythm to it. And then once you get into the rhythm of it, write your own. Call out your ideal client, make sure that they, it calls them out and it entices them to click or to go through, make sure your offer is amazing. But you don't just dismiss the ad right away. Or the audience, or even the message. Like, you have to reverse engineer and kind of try to figure out what is working. And you won't know until you run one, and then you can split test it with another ad. And if you think it's the message, change the message. If it does just as bad, it's probably not the message. Can we work on the, what's your landing page converting at? Is it speaking?
Right.
There's so many little factors in it. Don't let that overwhelm you. Do it as best as you can. Be like, is this going to work? If I was my ideal client, would I go through this? Would I click on it? And then launch it. And the only way, you're buying data and see if it's working or not. And if it's not working, then you've just spent $100 to buy some data, and you can keep taking away.
No, that's awesome. And also, another step is, if something appealed to you and it allowed you to click, go inside to put your email in. Go inside. What are they saying? How are they speaking to their audience, their leads inside the funnel? How many email follow-ups do you have within your your average emails?
I don't have that many. I have I think on the latest one, pretty sure we have like 10 or 12. But I have a content calendar, and I try to stick to it as close as I can. If I have something more important, like if I have a busy day of clients, then social media and content creation is the last thing I worry about. Like, I'm worried about the most important things. But I try to send out 3 emails a week. One email usually in the middle or the start of the week. It's just an email that there's no call to action. There's no really, I don't want them doing anything. I'm just communicating with them and sharing a thought, an idea, and a story of something that happened that gives them value. Second email, I usually share a podcast or some kind of juicy something. And the third one, I usually share something that did well on Facebook on the week so they can look at it, or a case study or whatever. And then once a month, I have it on my calendar that I send out a sequence of 3 emails that just ask for a phone call. If someone's ready to take the leap and wants to chat about what we can help them with, they can book a phone call. And that's pretty much rinse and repeat over and over. If you have live launches, it gets a little bit trickier, because then you do have to have a sequence and you got to time it right, and you got to, there's a little bit more to it if your program opens up once every 3 months.
Right.
But for most coaches who are just looking to get their first few clients, they don't have to worry about that at first. And yeah, so I have about 12, and they're pretty much all value. I think there's 1 or 2 that ask, but I really stick to a pretty simple formula that's been working. So.
No, that's awesome. Thank you. I was just taking notes. You got me over here taking notes, but there's a question I want to round this all up with. I think you. I think you've provided us so much value, especially, I'm interested in marketing and just really shaping my business for the next portion of my life. But I know this will help so many people, because, man, I've seen so many people just, we like that shiny object, so it's like, whatever's out, whatever the new trend is, we're like, oh,
hey, I'm guilty for it too. Like, I'm guilty. Like, the big thing now is messenger bots. I don't know much about it, but I've been investing, an hour or 2 of learning about it and reaching out to people who know a lot about it. That's just how I do things now. How can I pay for your time, or what can you teach me so I can avoid Googling this stuff? And that's kind of a shiny new object, but the basics of it are still the same. Is you have a message, you're bringing people in. I think people are kind of sick and tired of email marketing a little bit. So that's why this messenger bot has a lot of potential. People are doing really well with it. So it's not, I just have to learn how the messenger bot works itself. But once I learn that, you don't have to, when you know your product and your message, which you have, Stacy, like you've been doing this for so long, and your message is always consistent and it's always dialed in, that starting to run paid traffic or starting to up the marketing will come easy for you. It's the people who haven't put their time in the trenches yet,
right,
that I think expect a huge result. And I try to, like, having $100,000 launch on your first ever coaching program product, even if you have the best coaches working with you, I just don't believe selling through hype. I know some people in my space sell through hype. I get some of their clients sometimes. I had 2 last month from 2 pretty big names that I was surprised that they were like, I was in his program, didn't like it, I like yours better, because they sold a lot through hype and kind of kept people motivated.
Yep.
through hype. You're gonna, let's make 6 figures in 2 months, and it's just it's not gonna happen unless you've been doing it for a while. And they've helped thousands of people, and they pull a few testimonials from those people, and they're just like, look at the results they're getting. When 95% of the people aren't seeing those results, they're falling off. Like, they're kind of playing a numbers game, and that's why I'm obsessed with, like, working one-on-one or very closely with people, and making sure it's done right, and not selling through hype. Selling, you sell the dream, and they're still excited about it, but at the end of the day, it's going to take a lot of hard work, and there's no way around that.
Absolutely. No, I love that. I mean, I had someone come over to me that was in a very, I even respect the guy that she came over from, and she came in my academy, and it was like a totally different thing. And I got a testimony from her recently, and it was just to hear the opposition, and it's because of that hype. You're absolutely right. And so, I mean, if you want to go with the hype, go with the hype. But that thing dries and sucks you dry. And then you get down to the real, where you actually have to do some work. And and that's the part where you're like, okay, well, who can I follow that's been consistently putting in the work and going after that? One thing that I find is when I look at someone and someone comes out and it's all this big hype, and I ask, well, how long have they been in it? Because there's a lot of people that I follow, and I know they've been in the game for 25 years, but you're only hearing from the perspective of them making it now. And I always like to go back in time and say, okay, well, what kind of trench work did they put in, and where's the money really coming from? That's another question that I ask. And, we get down to the logics and the rational parts of these, and you could make a better decision of who you should follow, really, who you should follow, who you should get your knowledge from. Here's the question I want to round it out with.
I'm going to throw one more thing.
Yeah, throw it in.
I know you think, but I think it'll help people. If the person you're looking to work with or the program you're looking to buy isn't like, if you put in the work and this does not work for you, we'll offer you 100%. I'd always, even back in the fitness days, any one-on-one coaching that even involved my time with someone, I was like, if it doesn't work or you're not happy, like, there's no contracts, there's no commitments, and I'll give you your money back. Like, I'm so confident that it's going to work. And I think if you're buying into programs on hype that don't do that for you, then I'd be careful of what you're paying for, because the chances are of some of these programs you won't see the results you want. So I would, and if you're a coach and you're like, I'm going to coach you, and you're not confident enough to say, if you do what I tell you to and it's not going to work, you can have your money back, then I don't think you're sold on your process yet. So
no, that's very good. Personal guarantees. You got to guarantee your stuff. I mean, at the end of the day, you believe in it 100%. You know the thing works. You know that you by doing it step by step or whatever your guidelines and process is, if they follow that, it will work because you have done it and you have other people that have done it. Put your personal satisfaction guarantee, put your money back guarantee on it. And it just only builds more value for the person going into it, and they're more confident going into it.
Totally.
All right. All right. So let's see. I kind of pick out a date and a time from what my interviewees say, and I picked the time period for you as, just coming out of the fitness, you kind of sitting there making that decision, saying, you know what, I really don't want to do this anymore. I want to do another thing, maybe not sure what it was yet, but that period of time, that's where we're focused on. So your future self, your future now self, Lucas, goes back in time, and you have the ability to speak to that Lucas at that period of time. What is that conversation or that one thing or that phrase that you're saying to your old self at that period of time, knowing what you knew then? What would you say to yourself?
Yeah, man, that's so funny, because I'm just, all the early podcasts I did when I was first like, I don't think I want to do this fitness thing. Let's start a new audience. I remember I was like sick for 3-4 months. I actually had like a fever, and my body was sick for 3 or 4 months as I was burnt out, and fitness just wasn't serving me, but I was pushing through it. And I'm listening to these podcasts. They were every 2 weeks because I'm editing them putting them into blogs. And every podcast I'm like coughing and like, oh, I'm sick, my throat, whatever. And I'm like, I spent 3-4 months in like a massive amount of pain because I wasn't listening to my gut to like, hey, just take the leap. Don't be afraid. Just give up the money, because the money's obviously not making you happy. I mean, you can pay your rent and you can buy food, and you know, you don't need anything else if it's not making you happy. It doesn't go hand in hand. It was just the worst form of like pain because I was like, I have money, not huge money, but I was like, I was doing really well. And I wasn't doing what I loved. And so I just became a slave to my business and to people. And it sucked. And I knew I wasn't providing the value I could to my clients anymore because I wasn't into it anymore. So I would have been like, just cut it quicker. Just go with your gut. Spend a week tops making this decision instead of 4 months going back and forth and being in this ridiculous amount of pain. I couldn't sleep. And then when I did sleep, I'd sleep till 10, 11 a.m. I was just like a mess for 4 months. Cost me the relationship that I had back then. It did a lot of damage to my life. And nowadays I just feel like, dude, you got a long time. I was 28 at the time, 29. You got a long time to make the money. Like just follow your gut and what your heart's telling you.
I love that. Because then it's so funny. Like if we always could go back in time and see ourselves like sitting there hitting a pity party or really not following our dreams or not taking that leap. And then we look back now, we're like, fuck, you know, like what?
Totally.
Like we did it. Like stop. Like why did we even waste our time lamenting in that pity party and just really not going after our dreams? But so thank you for that. And Lucas, you have been an amazing, I watch you all the time and I have so much love for you and love for what you're doing. I love that you're so brutally honest and you put yourself out there and, you know, really focused on helping people. And I think that comes through in not only in this podcast, but in everything that you do in your website. Everything is just so it ties into that love that you have for helping people and that love that you have for business and entrepreneurship. So I want to thank you so much for investing time on the Stacy A. Cross Show. You've helped our audience out tremendously. All your information will be in the show notes. I know that we have a bunch of people that want to get into coaching, already in coaching, want to get their business booming a little bit, but putting it in terms of building process, sales funnel, marketing, really getting down to the nuts and bolts of business. Lucas will help you. His website is lucasrubix.com. Lucas, thank you again so much for joining me today on the Stacy A. Cross Show, bro.
Thank you. You're so awesome.
Yeah, so you're coming in from Canada, Vancouver, the city, and you know we're gonna keep in touch. And I know we're gonna really partner up in the near future and do something big for our people. Again, Comfort Killers, you heard it here. Man, it's been an amazing day today, amazing show with Lucas from Vancouver, from worldwide, really. And he gets uncomfortable on a daily basis, and you should too. So you can read the show notes, get all the information, the books that were mentioned today in our episode, and a link to reach out to Lucas personally. I am Stacy A. Cross, and there is no E in my name. Until next time, peace.
You've just listened to a episode of the Stacy A. Cross Show. You can subscribe and get more episodes on my website, stacyacross.com, and my company's website, thecomfortkillers.com. As always, you can get me on all my social media at Stacy A. Cross. Go ahead and subscribe, and we will see you next week. I am.